Yes. People, what's going on? Egal Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Did that end abruptly, or is it just me? It looks like it ended abruptly. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's good. Today we got a lot to talk about, man. Honestly, I just feel like one day I'm excited, the next day I'm annoyed. The transfer window is just so up and down. You got to just be level-headed, guys. It's tough for me, but if you guys can do that, you'll save yourselves a lot of headaches. Gunnar Souls, how you doing, bro? Before we get started.
I'm all good, man. Life's good. Just working away, enjoying the window.
Yeah, stress-free?
I'm always stress-free, man. I'm not one of those that panics. I mean, I will panic if we're getting to the end of the window and we've got no preseason games and we haven't got anyone in. But right now, I'm chill. I'm chill, man. How you feeling?
Bro, just annoyed. Sometimes I feel like the content's gonna make me die early, man. the way that it's like all the stuff is all over the place. But do you want to start with the GYOKERES news, or do you want to start with something else? What are you saying? I'll let you dictate today. What do you want to start with?
Anything, man. I mean, we could get the GYOKERES on because we've spoken about it in detail, so we can get that kind of.
First of all, how do you feel about Sesko not happening? As you're a big advocate for Sesko, you wanted Sesko. You were one of the guys saying, you know what, let's get Sesko over the line. That's the guy I want. That's the guy you wanted to bring to a club. And we ended up not getting him. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not going to be disingenuous and say I never wanted Sesko now just because we're getting the other person. My preference was definitely Sesko, and I'll still say that. But when you look at, I think there's a few things that I always said. Like, I never said don't get GYOKERES, and I think that's where the miscommunication maybe has come in. My preference has always been to bring the Sesko in, just because again, we all see football in a different way, and that's what makes content great, because regardless of our opinions on a certain player, we are going to see things differently, and there's going to be certain things maybe that are important to me in a striker that might not be so important to other people. And maybe my analysis of a certain player is different to maybe your views, Egal, and like the rest of the fan base, and that's what I think makes.
Is he worth 90 million?
Who's Sesko, or are you talking GYOKERES?
Sesko.
Absolutely not. And I mean, this is where I think where the argument swings in GYOKERES' favor, because he's done a lot more to push for the move, and I do quite like that. I do like a player who wants the club just as much as we want maybe the player. And he's made his intentions clear. He wanted Arsenal, and he only wants Arsenal. Whereas with Benjamin Sesko is doing nothing, his entourage are doing nothing to make the move happen. And I think that kind of also speaks volumes to what I look for when I'm looking at a transfer. I'm not saying I like the unprofessionalism, because that can also bite us in the arse, because if a player is willing to do that, if a bigger club comes in the eyes of GYOKERES, like let's say he thinks of Real Madrid and Barcelona being much bigger and that's his aspiration, and they come knocking and he does the same to Arsenal, that can be a detriment to us. But I like the idea of him saying to United, his former manager as well, no, if Arsenal want me, I'm going to Arsenal. And I like that in a player, and I think this is where Berta's done a masterclass, because the difference between like an Edu to a Berta is he's managed to get the price down in such quick succession. And I understand there's obviously third party or external factors that have played a part in this, in terms of his agent and GYOKERES, and saying I'm not going to come back, this relationship is now broken down. I understand people are going to use that, but you've also got to understand that Berta kept his cool in the entire process and said, no, we agreed on a certain price, which was £56 million, or whatever the case may be. It wasn't the original 80 million, right? So the 80 million was the original asking price of what they wanted when they broke this gentleman's agreement, if it is to be believed. So yeah, man, overall, look, I said, let's just get a number 9 of some status. I have my concerns, and I've also said I've got concerns of Sesko, so I'm not going to be I've tried to be as balanced as I can, regardless of having a favourite. And I think what GYOKERES will do is he knows where the goal is, but what I find disingenuous is GYOKERES is guaranteed and Sesko isn't. That's where I've always had a debate, and I've always said, look, I think people are being a bit disingenuous there, because Gyökeres is also an unknown because of the league he's coming from. And I know that shouldn't always play a part because we've seen like Vardy come from, like League 2 and absolutely tear the Premier League up as well and obviously become a Premier League champion. But at the same time, I can't sit here and be disingenuous and say I don't have concerns because of the league he's coming from and the types of goals he normally scores, whether he answers enough of the concerns that I've got in terms of the mid to low blocks, because they're our biggest problem.
My biggest reason why I wanted Gyökeres over Sesko is very simple, souls. Mentality. Did you see the video from Clive?
I don't know.
This
I think I come across, but I never listened.
This is the video from Clive. This is the reason, one of the main reasons what I think about. When I think about mentality, what Clive says in this video is the perfect reason why I believe Victor Gyökeres is better suited to Arsenal than Sesko. Just listen to this.
I tell you now, Gyökeres is desperate to be here. It's a life-changing moment for him, and everyone around him. If Sesko doesn't feel the same, that's fine. You can pop off to Bayern Munich in a few months' time, or do whatever you want to do. But I'm disappointed that he hasn't forced it and grasped it.
Yeah,
I'm really disappointed in that. Back to my line about mentality, it doesn't matter who I like. It doesn't matter what the data says. It doesn't matter what the YouTube say. Mate, I'm telling you, when you were sitting in that ground on those red seats and you look at someone and says, does he want the ball when it's hot? Right? And Elliot, do you remember when we watched Gyökeres at Sporting and we watched him and we knew we were tip-top that day, one of the best forms of the season. But we were watching, we were thinking, this guy won't go away. Remember?
Yeah.
We wouldn't go away. He wouldn't go away. He kept going and shooting. I mean, his desire to leave a mark on us was like ridiculous. It's almost like, mate, will you just stop now? We're beating you. And he kept going and kept going. And that clip that everyone's seeing when he hits the post, that was at 5-1. It wasn't at 1-0. It was at 5-1. You'd have thought it was the most important action in the world. And that desire really stuck with me. And we haven't got anybody in our club that cares about scoring like that. We haven't. And I know people are worried if it's going to work, and that's absolutely fine. We can analyze it. We can look at the data. We can look at the strength of opponents. But I watched Arsenal make Mikel Merino work at centre forward for 4 or 5 months. It wasn't perfect, but we made it work. Why are we not going to make this?
Facts. People are overdoing it. There's people out here acting like because we've picked the guy that they did not want, that all of a sudden it's not going to work. Mikel Merino at Arsenal was outstanding last season for those 18 games when he was playing up top. 18 games playing up top, 7 goals, 2 assists. You're telling me that Victor Gyökeres won't work and Mikel Arteta won't find a way to get the best out of Victor Gyökeres at Arsenal in a team that already creates a lot of chances, in a team that already has so much service for forwards. Think about it. Martin Norgaard, Bukayo Saka, creators. They can create for you. Also, on the left, we're going to be either signing Eze or Rodrygo. They both can also create. Victor Gyökeres is going to have minimum 3 players on the pitch at all times that can create multiple chances for him. And he's going to be one of the focal points. He's going to be taking all the penalties because he has an outstanding penalty record, 17 for 17, hasn't missed. Also, Declan Rice is probably going to take free kicks, right? But of course, the majority of the chances in the box are going to fall to him. And the reason why I wanted to play that clip is the mentality. 26 years old, experience, scored at a ridiculous rate over the last 2 calendar years, to the point where last season was the last player to score 62 plus goals in a single season in a calendar year. You know who that was? There was only 3.
Was it Haaland?
Only 3 players scored more than 60 goals in a calendar year.
Oh, I know Messi was one because he's obviously got the record.
Who's the other?
Ronaldo's done it, I think, once.
And who's the last one? Lewandowski. That means Neymar. That means Luis Suarez. That means all these top players, Mbappe, Haaland. None of them in a calendar year scored more than 62 goals. Now, I know he's doing it in the Portuguese league, and people are going to say, oh, it's It's the Portuguese league. But we have to give respect to the man himself. I'm not comparing him to Messi, Ronaldo, or Lewandowski. I'm just simply saying, out of the top 5 leagues in a single year, he's done 62 goals.
But
nobody is signing a player in this summer that scored more than 97 goals in a single year. Over a 2 year period.
Which is understandable, but I'm not in the camp of just because we now signed Gyökeres, I don't like him. I'm not in that camp, but I do want to defend what one of their points is. Now, my concern when signing Gyökeres is the mid to low block teams, because that is really where we struggle. It's not about creativity. It's about whether he's got the box presence to be able to beat those kind of teams. Now, I do think he's got that battle in him, and I think he can take on the physicality of the Premier League and stuff like that. But I haven't, and I think when I look at attributes of a player, that's where my concerns are, because I haven't really seen enough in him to be confident that he can answer that question. Now, I can be completely wrong with my concerns, but like I said, that's not a mark on him. That's just more of a, if you're giving me those two options, Sesko answered one of them. Gyökeres, I'm unsure whether he answers that question. And again, that's just from my analysis. I understand the point of view of he scored X amount of goals and stuff like that, but I do also want to be fair to say that I don't think the criticism is necessarily that he will or won't score goals. It's whether he answers the questions of, because don't forget, like, even Mikel Moreno did very well against teams who had high lines and stuff like that. But where he even struggled, and Kai Havertz has struggled, and the likes, is when we played those low block teams, mid block teams. As soon as they set up in that, we lose a lot in our sort of front three, and that's kind of where my problem is. But that's not to say Arteta couldn't coach him and position him in the correct way, and we've not got enough kind of coaches in there to be able to do that. So I'm excited either way. Look, I've always said it. I'm excited whoever we bring in. Both answer certain questions that we have, and some don't. So at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see how it plans out. I do think now Rodrygo and Eze are very, very pivotal to sign, because we still need them to be able to create a lot more and bring in the dynamic that we need to be able to get Gyökeres platformed in the correct way.
My question to you is, do you think we can get both?
It's a debate that a lot of people are having, because some people are in the camp of they'd rather lose Eze to bring Madueke in to get a cover for Saka. I'm in the camp of my priorities are get Rodrygo, get Eze, then get Madueke. If Madueke is going to cost me an Eze, I'd rather not get Madueke, but that's just because I feel like we have got players who can cover for Saka, and I'm not really concerned for the cover because Ethan can play there. If we bring in an Eze, I know people are going to say he's not really a right winger, blah, blah. We can play Rodrygo if we really needed to and bring Eze onto the left if that's a concern for a lot of people. And that's the reason why, I want both. I want those two at a minimum, Madueke as an addition. But with Madueke coming in, I'm just, personally, I haven't seen enough to sit there and go, I like the player, but he can prove me wrong.
Let's look at the news and let's get back to that question in a second, okay? First things first.
Ask one question though. Opening day, let's say we do sign Gyökeres, let's say it's done. Opening day, it's Old Trafford. What's happening?
Havertz is not starting as long as Gyökeres is there for preseason.
No. Forget that question. Let's say Gyökeres starts, right? He's had a preseason with us. What's your predictions? Is he scoring a hat-trick against his former manager?
No, I'm not talking about hat-tricks.
Let's just do it. Funny thing, man. Just a while.
I need to focus on what's the task at hand before I start saying hat-tricks.
Let's go wild, bro. We're getting the players we want. You can't do that. Let's go.
What I want versus Manchester United.
I'm saying a debut hat-trick
game of the season. I would want a brace. Maybe
debut hat-trick. Mark my words, it's going to be a debut hat-trick.
Debut hat-trick is crazy, bro. You're
mad. Do you know what's going to happen? Do you know what? It's got a hat-trick written all over.
Forget about what he does on his debut. How many goals do you think he's going to score in the first full Premier League season?
Just Premier League or all comps?
Because right now, people are saying 20 to 25 just in the Premier League.
Just in the Prem. If we get Rodrygo and Eze, I'm going to say he fights for the Golden Boot.
20 to 25 fights for the Golden Boot.
Yeah, I agree. But that's given that we get a Rodrygo and an Eze. But if we don't get them, then I do think it drops a little
All
bit.
right, before we get to Rodrygo and Eze, let's quickly go to the transfer news.
Boots, yeah, it's me, SULZ.
Yeah, big up Boots. Let's go on to the main topics now. People in the chat, do me a favor, please do hit that like button, please do hit that subscribe button. Where do we begin? There's so much that happened today. I'm just gonna go to Doc because Doc always has everything posted there. He even has
Is he reliable or is he just like an aggregator? I'm not quite sure.
Doc, bro, he's an actual doctor and he has time to do aggregation. Fair play to him. First things first, Arsenal are seeking a structured deal enabling them to buy Eze without spending big this summer. No concrete offer to Palace yet. Liverpool may come in. The player prefers to join Arsenal. Frustrations with Leipzig led to GYOKERES.
Okay, so he's giving us an outline of events. Okay.
I think this is very interesting because, first of all, didn't they say his release clause had a what do you call it? A structured payment already built in?
I think it's they're willing to take a structured payment. I don't know if it's built into the actual deal. But I do know, like someone was saying, that you can get like 3 sets of 20 million, like deal for him, which would be ideal.
The way that we staggered the payments for his deal would allow us to potentially go and get a Rodrygo. Potentially.
Yeah. No, I think it's more. I think Rodrygo is going to happen if
we're going to talk about that in order. Just 1 second. Nottingham Forest have announced Edu Gaspar. Good riddance.
No, do you know what? I've reflected on it. As much as I wanted him gone, I mean, he'd done some excellent work for us. Yes, he made a lot of mistakes, and that's kind of expected. Like, it's the same. If I'm going to give Arteta grace for making mistakes, I have to give grace to Edu. Like, he tried his best. He did what he could, and, you know, it was out of his capacity to get us over the line, and good luck to him.
But from what we're watching right now, Andre Berta, I can already tell he's a much better DOF.
No, absolutely. But we knew, but this is where we become disingenuous as a fan. We know he was inexperienced. We knew that he was going to have flaws, and as much as at the time, don't get it twisted, I was his biggest critic. I also do want to reflect and go, do you know what? If it wasn't for him as well, we wouldn't be where we are. So no, I'm not going to say good riddance. I'm going to say good luck to him. You know, it is what it is.
This was interesting. There was a report about Ethan. Gunner blog on Ethan. I seen people saying that this was agent spin and everything's fine. I'm not sure about that. There is definitely an issue here. I'm worried about it a little, given the complexity of the rest of the transfer picture. Somebody then messaged him and said something crazy, and they've then since deleted it. But he once and said, I'm always negative. Our accounts are just cherry picking quotes to generate engagement. And then he said, this is the direct quote. And he slightly altered it as if you read it here, it says, Ethan is back from Euros and will probably pick up negotiations soon. I may be that this is a public discussion of impasse or interest from elsewhere is required to unlock an agreement. Let's hope for some good news. And then he's like, I've learned that aggregators are just going to aggregate. So basically people calling him negative, he's punching back saying relax. But really and truly, should we be worried about Ethan's contract?
No, I mean, I've got it on good authority that it is going to get signed. So, and I got this told a few months back as well. So I'm fairly confident it will get done. I think there's always got to be a negative spin when things are going well at Arsenal, just so that Arsenal fans lose their head and give their engagement over. So I'm confident it'll get done.
Fair play. News came out also that it's almost the GYOKERES deal is done. Arsenal is close to agreeing the signing for GYOKERES. Man reported it himself. Pretty big reporter right there stating that, ESPN reporter also. So yeah, Arsenal are close to the GYOKERES signing. We've already known this, but the interesting part about this is not that the deal is done. It's what Fabrizio Romano stated underneath these tweets. Did you see that reportedly he took 2 million less to join Arsenal? He took a 2 million €2 million reduction in his wages to help secure the deal to join Arsenal. I've seen that reported somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those like bonus.
First of all,
like loyalty
65 million. Sorry, bro. Let me just finish this. 65 million for the actual deal, and then underneath you'll see a tweet somewhere here where Arsenal are still in talks with it. And where is it? Here it is. No, that's not it. Is this one it? Fabrizio wrote it down somewhere, but I can't even find it. That he took a £2 million deduction in wages. That was shocking people. It's like he's showing real love that there it is. Difference between 5 million. There's no threat of the deal. That was 13 hours ago, and here it is. GYOKERES gave up 2 million of his 8.3 wages a year to join Arsenal. That's crazy. SULZ?
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't deny his dedication to wanting to come to the club. I mean, giving up £2 million, regardless of what he's going to get paid. I know a lot of people are going to say footballers are well paid anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But 2 million is still 2 million. Like, regardless of who you are and how rich you are, like, it's life-changing amounts of money. But he's dedicated to the cause, and that element, look, you know, I can put my hands up and say, do you know what, at least he's a lot more dedicated and he wants the club more than anyone. And that will come to fruition, especially, you know, when you're down in the slums, the team's needing someone to pick them up. These are the kinds of players you want at the club, who want to be here, who want to fight for the badge. And that's the kind of mentality that gets you over the line. And I think that's the key to the signing.
You know how dedicated he is? He's so dedicated. He dumped his girlfriend. He what do you call it? Was ready to lose 2 million in his salary. He went on strike for Sporting and did not want to return to training.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I'm 50-50 on the whole don't return to training thing, because I don't know if a bigger club comes in for him, or in his eyes a bigger aspiration move comes up, and if he does the same to us. But I can't see it being like that. But I think there was bigger reasons why he done that. But at the end of the day, look, he's dedicated. He's going to come in and he's going to fight, and that's what we need.
You guys got scammed for GYOKERES PR. He's not good. Jackson and Delap are better. Chelsea fans, of course, you're going to see that. You guys delude yourself into saying that. Fair play. Let's go to the next thing. So yeah, they're saying the deal is going to close at 65 million. I think that's amazing. I'm quite excited to see. And they're saying it could be 65 million euros. It finishes at. Wow. If he does that, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, look, it went from 90 million or something like that down to, what is it, 70-something million euros if we're going from euros to euros. Yeah, it's a phenomenal job. I mean, that's what Andrea Berta does, and I've said this to many people. When people know we want a striker, so they're going to leverage the idea of, well, you're desperate for a striker, so we're going to try and get as much money out of you as possible. But this is why these multi-deal negotiations work perfectly for Arsenal, because even in a position of less power and leverage, you give yourself a lot of leverage, because we'll just be like, well, okay, if you're not bringing your price down, we've got Sesko, we'll just go get Sesko, or, you know, an alternative option. And that's kind of what Andrea Berta does really well.
I think, before we get to the conversations around more incomings, outgoings, we got an update today on 2 outgoings. One, Martinelli. Martinelli's not going to Al Nassr. No talks between Al Nassr and Martinelli. Fabrizio Romano reported it earlier today on his YouTube account, saying that Fabrizio said basically Al Nassr are not speaking to Martinelli. Martinelli is still part of Arsenal's plans, and doesn't look like they're going to sell him. As for if there were a good offer, they might come in. They will consider it, but right now Al Nassr is not a realistic option for Martinelli. They're looking at other targets.
I mean, selling Martinelli to buy Rodrygo makes no sense. Like, we need Rodrygo and Martinelli so that we've got different profiles for different games. Because having Rodrygo and Trossard is just too same. The only difference is Trossard's just a worse player. And I do like the dynamic of sitting there and going, on our left side, we've got Martinelli and Rodrygo who can both do different things. You still have a transitional threat when you need it, but you've also got the techie winger if that's what you need for a certain game.
Well, we're going to talk about Rodrygo in a second, but where is the stuff with Trossard? I seen something with Trossard. Here it is. Trossard. Work is being done right now. Fenerbahce, Trossard is being Fenerbahce submitted a bid actually for Trossard, which is around 15 million. That was reported yesterday. If I can find that. And Trossard, first of all, he's changed agents. Trossard has changed agents. Trossard has been being shopped around by Arsenal Football Club, and Arsenal want 20 million euros for Leandro Trossard. That's what, 5 million less than what we paid for him. So I think that's a good deal for Arsenal. Get good return on the investment. And at this moment in time, they're saying that they offered 15 million euros for a team in Turkey, Fenerbahce. They've offered 15 million euros. So if that is true, and Fenerbahce have offered us 15 million euros for Trossard, I would take it. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't just jump at it. First of all, I would try to see if we can get 20 million or 25 before we just go and jump at it. And this was reported earlier today from Socha, and it was reported yesterday night. It was reported yesterday night. I seen somebody post it. Where is it? Yesterday night. Eduardo Hagen posted it last night. 15 million offer for Leandro Trossard from Turkish giant Fenerbahce. Here it is. So what do you think? 15 million is way too low, right? We should at least ask for 25 and then maybe go meet in the middle at 20.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy with 20 million. I mean, 15 million, I can understand it because of his age and obviously coming nearer to the end of his contract, and he's clearly surplus the requirements to some degree. But yeah, if we can get 20 million for what we paid for him, that's a £7 million loss. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Facts. If Leandro Trossard leaves, that only leaves us with Martinelli and Saka. Now, let's have the conversation with Eze Rodrygo. Could you see a world where we sign Rodrygo? Because right now there seems to be a whole host of clubs after Rodrygo. Those clubs are 3 clubs: Manchester City, Arsenal, and PSG. Now, I don't think it makes any sense for him to go to PSG. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're an Arsenal fan. Of course, you're going to say Arsenal's the best option. On a real, Arsenal, PSG, Manchester City, what is the best option for you if you're Rodri?
It's between City and Arsenal. Like, if we're being absolutely honest, because, I mean, if he goes to PSG, the only thing that it does, it opens up certain players being open to being sold, which whether you think those options are good enough for us to bring in, like a Bradley Barcola, whether, you know, a Desired Dewey becomes available, or
Desiree Dewey's not going nowhere, bro. The young boy.
I'm just saying I don't know who becomes available, but I know Bradley Barcola would definitely be like on the market if Rodrygo signs. Because also if you look at it, they've only just signed Kvaratskhelia, so it's like where do they play these kinds of players? Like someone big's got to be sold.
Is Rodrygo realistic for Arsenal when they want 300k a week?
I think it's a tough one because he is arguably, if he comes in, our best player. You know, so 300k isn't I understand the asking price. He's one of the best players in the world. He's won it all. He's renowned, and also he's going to be very in demand. So sometimes you just got to pay because of how in demand this player is going to be. Because another conversation is going to be Liverpool are going to come into it soon, because of, you know, obviously situations that have happened, and they're going to need, like, Diaz looks like he's also going. So, you know, Rodrygo is going to be needed for a lot of clubs, like, especially when you're talking about an available winger who's that good. Like, you don't really see a player being, I'm not going to say they're pushing him out, but they're kind of pushing him out. And you never see a player of this quality just being available.
If Liverpool were to go and get Rodrygo, on top of Florian Wirtz, that would be a real statement of intent, and that would be their potential Mo Salah replacement or successor in the door already. Fair play if they do that. It would be really impressive. As Luis Diaz does look like.
Don't forget that
Luis Diaz has so many options. Luis Diaz has so many options as what do you call it? And you know the crazy thing is, Manchester United buying Cunha for so much money is going to help out a lot of these selling clubs as like a benchmark for what they should sell their players for.
Yeah. And I think also like, and you're seeing it with the Brian and Mbeumo deal, because Brentford are wanting more because of the Cunha deal, because of like the other, what are the other, like some of the other wingers who have gone, like the João Pedro, for example. You know, some of these deals have gone for like 50, 60 million euros, and they're like, well, Brian and Mbeumo's worth just as much or more. So you're already seeing the ripple effects of overpaying for players.
You see this comment right here? This is what I've been thinking for the last couple days. It's Rodrygo or Madueke and Eze. That's what I think. And you know the crazy thing is, Madueke and Eze wages-wise will be cheaper than Rodrygo.
No, but we can't think of it like that. What makes
the club is probably good. I don't see a world in which we get both Eze and Rodrygo. I just don't.
Ignore that. If we take this scenario, right? Let's say we are the board.
If we sell Trossard, could we get Rodrygo, Eze, and Madueke?
Okay, let's act as if we're the board. Like me and you, we're making this decision, right? This is our decision. Forget what the club will do. What do we want to do?
No. What we want to do is irrelevant. What is realistic?
No. Like I want to play the scenario in our, like, what would we like to do? Like in a realistic, ideal world as well. So if I'm looking at it, I would gamble it all on Rodrygo. We need world-class attackers. That's me, because I just think the impact that Rodrygo makes it'll far outweigh what an Eze and Madueke both do. I understand the reasons why people go the other way because of depth and bringing in another 10 and stuff like that, which could also just make us just as much of an impact as well. But I don't know, man. Rodrygo coming to Arsenal is phenomenal business.
65 million euros for Elanga. Does that set a higher bar for Rodrygo now?
No, because there's an element of Real Madrid not really wanting him, and I think they've kind of set the precedence in the Club World Cup by not playing him. Because then, do you risk the fact that you've got an unhappy player, or do you want to kind of sell him whilst the value's still there?
Okay, so I was looking at Kiko Suarez's tweets, and he's basically saying PSG is unrealistic. Man City is indeed one of the clubs, but Arsenal is the favorites. And Arsenal is really the favorites because of our lack of attacking options. Yeah. Can you see a world in which we get Eze and Rodrygo and no Madueke?
That's the world I want to live in.
Because Eze would cost us 20 million this window. Yeah. Rodrygo split over however many years would still cost us quite a bit of money. We would need sales. That's why we're selling Trossard. But if we sell Trossard, that's also why we're buying Madueke. And then it comes down to what's the price for Madueke, because it really feels like the Madueke deal is holding us back from being able to do what we really want to do as fans.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I've always said it, if Madueke doesn't interfere with these other signings, then I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't have a problem.
But how can't he if his price is going to be 40 to 50 almost?
Then I say we just walk away for now. Because the thing is, it's not a priority for us. We don't have to get it done now. And I think I do like Berta's approach of getting these things done quickly.
Napoli have just offered 48 million for Darwin Núñez. I'm telling you, Liverpool's going to come to the table for Rodrygo, and we might be fucked.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, Madueke can be done at the end of the window. He's not a priority signing. We don't need him right now. So we can just play the long game with them and just keep dragging this until they meet our demands. We can be like, wow, this is all we can afford. So either accept it or we're going. He's not that good. He's not that good to detriment like Eze and Rodrygo coming in. That's just my opinion.
if we get Eze and Rodrygo, where do they play together? Doesn't matter.
No, because I think we need to understand there's horses for courses, and as like if Odegaard is having another, I don't think he will, but if he's having another season where he's just not performing, then you bring an Eze in. It's as simple as that.
I think Eze is a better left winger than he is a 10, and this whole Arsenal's 10 doesn't play the way Palace's 10 would play. So
No,
I'm looking at Eze. I'm looking at Eze as a predominant winger for Arsenal.
No, but you've got to understand that the 10's going to change this season, because now that we bought Zubimendi in, we won't be playing our 10s deeper.
We don't really play a double pivot with a 10 in front. We play.
No, but we will though, because we'll have Zubimendi and Rice playing there. It'll change. The dynamic of the midfield will change.
Okay, I like Eze. I think Eze is a good alternative to Rodrygo. In the case that we can afford both of them, it's going to be 60 million, 20 million each. Rodrygo, even if it's 70 million pounds for Rodrygo, say, right? Say on the low end, on the high end, say it's 80 million pounds, 90 million euros.
Yeah.
We make some sales to Fabio Vieira, to Leandro, Trossard, to Zinchenko, maybe even Kivior could find that.
Yeah, because we've got Mosquera coming in as well. So if Kivior goes for the 40 million pounds that he has been linked to be moved away for, I think the money can be there to get all three.
Because then Calafiori would be the backup left-sided centre back, and then would it mean we would spend more money on another left back? Or Timbers can be left back also?
No, because because we'll have Mosquera, won't we? As well.
Mosquera can play right back.
Yeah, I know, but he can play left centre back if we absolutely needed to.
True. Overall, man, it's all over the place. By the way, update on Mosquera. You know what the update on him is? And isn't his name Mosquera, not Mosquera?
I don't know. I can't pronounce names.
Anyways, the update on him is that Arsenal are still in talks with Valencia, and that they're looking to make a proposal for 20 million euros, and that should get the deal over the line, as he rejected his newest offer to Valencia. Teams left, right, and center are rejecting contract offers at the clubs that they're currently at to join Arsenal. It really does make you feel like we're a big boy on campus right now. The way that some of these guys are moving for us, it's nice to see. Young up and coming centre back that can develop, potentially be maybe even a successor for Saliba if he does end up leaving to Real Madrid one day. We already spoke about Rodrygo. We already spoke about Leandro Trossard. We already spoke about Gabriel Martinelli. The final thing is Noni Madueke. We're 10 million apart on the price tag for Noni Madueke. They whatever they want, Arsenal value him 10 million less. Hopefully the deal stays apart from each other, but in a world where we sign Noni Madueke, can you see the benefit of having a young 20-year-old English international as a backup to Bukayo Saka? 23.
I don't know. I mean, look, I personally, I ain't seen anything really of value there. Like, with certain players where you're like, you can look at their previous club, like, Kai Havertz, we looked at Bayer Leverkusen and we said there was quality there. I'll be honest with you, Noni Madueke has never been a player that I've said Arsenal need to sign him, even at PSV, even when I see him at England, even under 21s England. I've just never really seen Madueke be that player that we need to sign him. And I've not seen the potential there. He's not grown at Chelsea either. And I just think I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit like, surely for £50 million for a rotational piece for Saka, there's a much better out there. I refuse to believe that that's the best we can do.
Benjamin Sesko is going to end up at Al Hilal.
He has kind of screwed himself over. He should have pushed for the move. I think his career's done. He's an idiot.
Hilarious. He's going to end up at Al Hilal.
Yeah, because if Arsenal aren't coming in for him, not many other clubs aren't coming in right now. No one's paying 90 million. Like, if we're being absolutely honest, no one's paying that kind of money.
No, Leipzig have to sell also. Leipzig have to sell.
Yeah,
and you know the crazy thing is, nobody's going in for Xavi Simons either. Everyone wants the safer Premier League players nowadays.
No, I don't think it's that. I think people just can't be asked negotiating with Arsenal. That's the reality.
Allah! Newcastle put Elanga on 350k a week.
Huh? Confirm? Wait, what?
No chance that's true.
Where's this?
Leyton Orient fan reported that. No chance that's true. No chance that's true. Elanga's on 350 a week. No chance. No chance this is true.
No, that can't. I can't see them being that stupid.
No, I think Kaz is taking the piss. No chance he's earning that much money. That's nuts. No, he's getting 300k. Yeah. What? Doesn't make sense.
That can't be true, man. I'm sorry. That can't be true.
Bro, these guys are gonna. Other people are gonna look around and say, "Yo, he's making this much money. I need to make this much money." No, it's 250. I don't know why people are saying 300. Still, that's crazy. Giving him 250 a week and paying 55 million pounds is nuts for Elanga.
Fair enough to them, man. Fair enough.
Newcastle were desperate to get Elanga.
He's not that good. I'm sorry, like he's a good player, but you're telling me 55 million pounds and yeah. Do you know what? This could be a blessing in disguise because Madueke might be our price.
Newcastle might get Nottingham Forest might get Rashford, you know.
That would be a good signing for them. Would be a quality signing under Nuno.
Hey, we're past the days of Rashford. His wages are crazy though. As for Arsenal, we got a situation, man. Enough about stressing. Just honestly, we got GYOKERES in, right? We got Zubimendi in. Norgaard. Did you guys hear about the Norgaard update?
Well, what's the update? I thought it was basically a done deal.
His announcement's coming soon. So
okay.
Norgaard announcement is expected in the next 48 hours.
Oh, amazing.
So Cristhian Norgaard is done. So that will mean so far our window it's escalated a lot since the what do you call it? The 1st of July. So Norgaard's done, Zubimendi's done, Kepa's done, GYOKERES is done. That's 4 signings done, right? Mosquera's still in the works. Rodrygo's still in the works. Eze still in the works. And Madueke still in the works. 4 other signings are in the works, potentially. How many signings do you think we're going to finish with?
So we've done, how many do you say we've done? 4 already?
We've done 4. We're still working on 4.
I reckon another 2, maybe 3. I think Mosquera will more than likely come in. I think a winger will come in, and I think I'm gonna say another.
So Mosquera, Eze, and the last one's Madueke.
Or Rodrygo, yeah.
Okay, so realistically speaking, Madueke, Eze, GYOKERES, Eze, and Zubimendi, 3 level raisers, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Mosquera, Norgaard, Kepa, Madueke, and who's the last one?
I don't even want to say Madueke, but yeah, I think
no. So who the bench players? Kepa, Norgaard, Madueke, Mosquera. So we're looking at 7 signings. Who's the 8th? I missed somebody.
Rodrygo? Eze?
No, Eze is part of the big 3. So we've made 3 signings who are going to be level raisers. Eze, GYOKERES, and Zubimendi, right? Those are the 3. Kepa is the backup keeper.
Yeah.
You got Mosquera, who's going to be the backup defender. Norgaard is going to be the backup midfielder. You got Madueke, who's going to be the backup, attacker. So we're making 7 signings.
Yeah.
If we were to make a 8th signing, and that was Rodrygo, how much money are we talking about now?
Around 300 million.
Because Kepa's 5, Norgaard, Zubimendi 55, Norgaard 9.5. Say we're paying 60 for GYOKERES, or 60 for GYOKERES, 60 for Eze, 77 for Rodrygo, and then on top of that, Madueke would cost us 40. That's 310 million. No chance we spend 310 million. If you take out Madueke, that's 266. In a world where
is that without Rodrygo?
That's with Rodrygo.
Oh yeah, then we will.
So with Rodrygo, we would be spending around 270.
Yeah,
270 million pounds. I think we could pull that off if we don't get Madueke. If we get Madueke and we don't get Rodrygo, we would be spending 230. Realistically, 230 sounds about what we might spend.
No, I still think Rodrygo someone comes in. I think they know they need that left winger to come in.
Because they would have already.
That's a market opportunity you have to jump on.
Oh, bro, I didn't even include Mosquera.
Oh yeah, that's 20 million.
So Mosquera without Noni Madueke is 286.
I think that can be done.
That's before sales.
Don't forget we didn't do anything in January, nor did we really do much in the last window either. So I think the money is there.
It's stressed, man. Honestly.
Don't forget, Trossard, let's say we get 15 million. Let's just go low end.
I'm okay if we don't get Eze, if we get Rodrygo. I'm okay if we don't get Rodrygo, that we get Eze. In no way or form am I okay if we don't get either Rodrygo or Eze.
Of course.
One of them have to walk in the building.
Yeah.
A world in which Madueke is our only left wing option coming out of this window is a disaster.
Yeah, that'd be hard. I don't think anyone can accept that. I'd lose my shit. I'd be like, yo, you better not lose a game. You're not allowed to lose.
Anyways, we're going to wrap it up here, boys and girls. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. We're going to send you over to somebody. Somebody has to be live. Who's live right now? Let me see. Who is live right now that we can send you over to? We're going to send you over to Staffy. Tell Staffy Manchester United are in the mud. GYOKERES is joining Arsenal. Your club is in the mud. Enjoy Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Anyways, love for the people. You already know what it is. Catch you on the next video. Love for the love. You already know what it is. Peace.